Oh, just to let you know, I've invited Jason to stay for the bank holiday weekend, coming up. You've done what? You've got to be out of your mind. I've spilt blood and shared space with that guy before. He's a goddamn maniac. Do you even know? You haven't invited him. Oh, don't be silly. He's steadied down. He's not like he was when you lived together. He's become clean and green. He's a yoga instructor, I think, now. You're completely crazy. The guy's a madman. He'll strip this place bare until there's not a morsel of grub or anything left. He just forages in the fridge until everything's gone. He'll use a washing machine. He'll use everything. He'll steal clothes. He'll sell anything that's not nailed down. He's a proper kleptomaniac, this guy. I mean, last time he stripped me down as to virtually the skeleton. He pawned everything, even bed sheets, towels, to get a wrapper brown. He's clean. Lives like a monk now. Monk? More like a Shaolin monk. That's another thing. All he does is fornicate, fight, and feed. He's a proper triple F model, that. That is a doomsday machine. What the hell have you invited him for? Look, he's assured me. He's off the brown, he's off the booze, he's off everything. You're so gullible. Jason will smoke anything and any amount of gear. He'll take anything. He'd smoke the carpet if it had an essence of ganja in it. You remember last time he was jamming outside the bar? On the grass there? Off his tits for nearly 6 weeks. Slept outside, never had one wash, never even, just sat there picking his toes and, oh, my God, when I think about what the bloke's like, it's disgusting. And then the next thing, he fell down the steps. Remember, he took a crashing tumble down there, busted 3 ribs, smashed a clavicle bone, and if the hospital hadn't dried him out, they say he'd have probably died. Fortunately, they kept him in, pumped him full of vitamins and God knows what, even gave him a blood transfer, virtually emptied his system of all hemoglobin and refilled it. Otherwise, he'd have snuffed it. You're being so harsh. I don't know why you're saying that. He's a brilliant musician. I know he's a brilliant musician. That is, if he's not smashed yet another guitar to smithereens. Remember the last one? Just smashed it over the guy's head outside the bar while he was on the grass, wired on God knows what peyote powder or whatever he was taking. And then the next thing, he's tried to cut his own wrist because he's in remorse. He got shipped off again. I know that he was difficult. He's fine now. Don't forget, he's quite religious, very religious. I know he's religious. That's why he only used to play on a Sunday morning, on the Sabbath. It was the only time they sobered him up. He couldn't even pluck the strings otherwise. Look, we have begged and borrowed everything to kit this place out. We've borrowed it from another lunatic artist. I mean, we're virtually sleeping on the floorboards here. A blow-up mattress, as yours has popped anyway. Where's he going to sleep? One of the bare boards facing the windows here. We've got one room between us and the street. Where's he going to sleep? And apart from that, I've told you, he'll strip the place. He says that he's got his own tattle. He's bringing everything. He's got everything now. He travels. He's a musician as well. He's bringing everything with him. Oh, I can't believe you've invited this guy. I mean, the last time we had to jump-start him from virtually death with a defibrillator borrowed from the granny's hospice on the corner. Can't you remember? Natasha came in screaming the place down that he was dead, and we fired him up with 2 sparks. Intense electric shock to get him going. He coughed back to consciousness and spewed into my rubber plant. And then, if that wasn't enough, got pissed out of his mind and sat back into them and smashed it to smithereens. Crushed it. Thought it was a chair. A green chair. End of the rubber plant. Look, he's grown out of that. Rubbish. He'll still be using a catlit tray as an ensuite like he did last time. Remember, a dirty, scruffy get. Jesus. He's going to meet us at the Slut and Fetish anyway, the boozer. He says he's going to buy us a few drinks and have a chat. Super tramp, buy a few drinks. I'll tell you what he's going to do. He's going to walk straight in and tap you for the 20 and then tiddle it up against the porcelain in some non-stop liquid suicide. We've got to give him a chance. He says he's sorry about last time. Oh, sorry. You remember last time, do you? Can you remember what happened? Because you were out of your mind on virtually at the side of him. I'll tell you what happened. He set fire to the house and climbed out of the window after taking a dump on the lounge carpet because he said he was so scared, which I happened to tread in, and totally deranged on drink, left us to burn. He was trying to, or I was trying to make a good impression on my first date. Yeah. And there we were, all stood in the street, in bare feet, naked, piss wet through, after the fire brigade had fired 1,000 gallons of water, sprayed by the red roses. And that, by the way, remember what happened to that seemingly bride-to-be? Yeah, she married the fireman. Great. All down to Freddy, who'd have let us burn, by the way. And adding sort of insult to injury. Not only that, I caught syphilis and scabies off the dirty old git because he'd been living in some wanked-out squat at the other side of Banger. But has he still got them dreadlocks down to his feet and a beard to his navel? Well, I don't know. I don't think so. Because they barred him from about 4 boozers last time he was back here as a fire hazard. Said he couldn't even come in. At one stage, one of them said he couldn't even move away from the fire extinguisher at one go. Anyway, I had to be virtually sheep-dipped for 3 weeks to get rid of that lot. Sheep-dipped, plunged into Promethean or something equally ghastly. I virtually was yellow, jaundiced, with liver failure by the time I'd finished. Because this dirty, filthy shekel shags that can't be bothered washing, and shags any old trouts and trollops countrywide, and then comes back and wipes it on whatever towels you possess until we've got it. Look, he's got a girlfriend now. A steady, steady squeeze that straightened him out. Yeah? She's calmed him down. She's greened him up. He's vegan. Who is she? Anna. Anna? Which Anna? Anna 36. Anna 36, you mean the the one that rides a crotch rocket, dressed in total leather. Yeah, I happened to have caught chlamydia off her leather trousers at one stage as well. She is less hygienic than him. They're scruffy. Don't you think it's possibly you that is just, let's face it, antisocial? I'm not antisocial. I'm not an antisocial guy. I do not want to be sharing, fleas, ticks, scabies and syphilis, or even saliva, with any of those two. Why have you got... They're not sleeping anywhere near me. You can sleep amongst them. They're not sleeping near me. Okay? And that Anna machine last time, if you conveniently forgot, the one you seemingly now favour, you remember what she did last time? She broke Rick's jaw and also busted a hand in the process. Boxer's fracture. Yeah? And she shared every single bed on the planet with everyone, carrying God knows what. She will give us something. I will end up waking up with a rosette on the end of this John Thomas of mine yet again. Those two, I've had every single ghastliness known to man. And apart from that, Feddy, wherever he goes, you know him and I know him. He springs a leak. That's why he's called Tiddles. He gives everything and everyone a golden shower. He nearly brought the ceiling down last time at Jack's on New Year's Eve. burst all the light fittings down below. They blew. 2 gallons of the old and filthy had been tiddled straight through the ceiling and into the electrics. See, you always see the worst in people. I just can't understand why. You can't be optimistic and good. You always have to look on the dark side. I look on the dark side because he is going to make such a dreadful mess of where we live, and he's going to steal. He's going to steal and thieve, and he's not like that. He's a vegan. His girlfriend's got him tried out. She's worse than he is. Jeremy, you've shared space with him. You remember the girlfriend he brought back then? She got you by the throat, whilst he was hid under a great big pile of washing. And then he crawled out and tried to apologise because she knew, she'd found out that he'd been, been what? He scuttled her mother, for heaven's sake. He did the MILF. Oh, yeah, but come on, her mother was beautiful. Yeah, oh, Jeremy, you're over-egging it. I'm not over-egging it. I'm not. What about, at Follyfoot, Marks, when he tiddled straight into the TV and all his sound system, that really expensive sound system. He'd had that much booze, he didn't know where he was. He was stumbling round and round, and then tiddled all over and blew himself across the room. It's a wonder he didn't blow us up. And when his girlfriend came back, when Mark's girlfriend came back, she blacked my eye shut with her hands that were like war hammers, bounced a teapot off the top of your head and threw the pair of us into the street and proper knocked us about. And Mark, who was going to take charge and stop her from near on killing us, Mark ended up hiding in a church for a week until she'd forgiven him. They thought he was the new sexton. All the people at the church. My God, yeah, you're right. I tell you what, I forgot about that. That was a proper night to remember. Yes. And what about the night to remember when he Mickey Finned Paul in order so that he could screw his bird? Come on, Mark, Paul, me, you. Yeah, but he was out of control then. He's okay now. Look. You think he's going to be okay. It's you. You're just you're a bit on the Ms side. I'm not on the Ms side. I'm not. I'm in for a good time too. But like Paul in the hospital, I've been there too. Having a good time is not a stomach pump and then a massive police interview and a caution. And also, as with Paul, who ended up in front of the magistrates. For somehow, Jason had locked him in a telephone box and bound it with gaffer tape so he couldn't get out. This is not a good time to be had. Well, he's coming anyway, so... Can you remember when he came out of the Harrogate Arms? Yeah? Do you remember that time when we were at Aunt Sal's or something? And all ended up back at Aunt Sal's. And he'd got into a punch-up on a free bus, which it was free. That was the obvious. And he'd ended up paying £5 on the bus because he's so drunk that he didn't realise it's free. And then got into a bust-up with a guy who hit him over the head with a tin watering can. I mean, there was blood everywhere. We couldn't stop the blood. It was like a slaughterhouse. We were skating in it. And then, but that's probably because he thinned his blood down. I know that, but there was nearly 3 pints of it. We ended up carting him into the hospital. He was singing Slade, as I remember. And only stopped when they started putting 20 staples in the top of his buns, fortunately. I mean, you conveniently forgot all this. You've conveniently forgot everything about how black this guy is. What about the time your girlfriend, remember what he did when we took him round to see, you know, your girlfriend's new apartment, brand new apartment, and her brand new collection of ceramics that she'd been collecting to show at an expo. Remember what he did? Oh, right, he lost his balance because he was so full of brew and so sideways from sobriety. He fell backwards after trying to give a speech. What was he doing giving a speech? Can you remember? Why did he stand up and give a strangest speech and then fell backwards, smashed everything to smithereens, crawled to the toilet, spent most of the night calling God on the great white telephone, and then clamped his canines onto her toilet door after he'd spewed up in the toilet all night? And we had to burn his nose with a cigarette and prise his jaws open with a wooden spoon handle to get him off the door. He was like some sort of rabid dog. Well, oh right, but you know what he was like back then. He just used to mix mogadons and mescaline and a bit of LSD, brain cleaner. He was out of it, but he's clean now. I can guarantee when he arrives, he will still be having barbiturates and booze for breakfast. And he'll freebase gas, ganja, glues, everything. And then beg forgiveness at Vespers and crash out on the pews in a god-awful rasping snooze that's another thing. You could never get to sleep for the guy. No one could get any sleep. It was either snoring so loudly or shagging some old chub-faced thing out of his mind. And what does he normally do? What did he always do? He used to try and... He's a space bat. He tried to land his balloon back on planet Earth by taking sugar brown transfuse. Remember? He's off the brown. He's off everything. You said that. I think he will still be a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. I just can't understand why you've done this. Can't you actually phone him? He doesn't have a mobile. See what I mean? So no mobiles, no nothing then. Well, get ready, because I guarantee on the first day, I've shared 3 flats with him. On the first day, he never sees, let's face it, he never sees noon. Soon as he wakes up, he'll have 2 screwdrivers, what's left of a J, and then he'll hot wire with some toot and a spoonful of Special K. I'm telling you, that's what he's going to do. He's clean. He's a maniac. He is a maniac.